Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Level Up Podcast with myself, Greg Harrelson. This is where I focus on taking you from agent to entrepreneur. As you know, I have a passion for developing agents. And on today's episode, I'm going to share another quick strategy on how you can increase your production. I'm going to be real, so you be ready. Let's level up.
Welcome back to the Level Up Podcast. I'm Brendan, and I wanted to have a conversation with you today talking about scripts. If you've been using the same old scripts and not been happy with the conversion, then I want you to throw them out. Yeah, actually throw them out, because what we know is scripts have never been the answer to productive conversations in the real estate industry. What has been the answer has been conversations. Scripts are parts of the conversation that we learn and, we memorize, and then we think that we're going to be able to put all these together. Now, if you're an actor or an actress, then scripts are very effective because both people or groups of people, everybody has the same one. They're all reading off the same script. You say this, I say this, and we go back and forth, and it makes a nice cohesive story. There's a nice conversation happening there because everybody knows what the other is supposed to say. But do our buyer and seller clients and prospects have those scripts? I can assure you they don't. In fact, they have their own scripts that we don't know about, and it makes communicating very difficult if you're relying on them to communicate effectively. So what I want you to think about is, how do we make this transition from using scripts and being scripted and just saying these lines that we feel like we've got memorized to actually having conversations? Now, the biggest or the most obvious answer is it's going to take a lot of reps. You have to practice this. It's not natural. These things aren't downloaded into our brains. Think about something that you're really, really good at, maybe a hobby or sport or something that you're interested in. And just think about if you had to explain the basics of what it is and what you do and why you're good at it to somebody that had never heard of it, or maybe they weren't that familiar with it. Could you effectively explain what you wanted to get across to that person? You'd be really good at it because it's part of your core. It's who you are. If you spend a lot of time doing it, you're very good at communicating about it. Now, if you wrote that out, that explanation, do you think that I could go ahead and memorize it? Of course I could. I could memorize exactly what you said. And after I had it memorized, then I could turn around and, produce the same script that you gave me to somebody that I was trying to explain my points to. But do you think I would be as effective? There's no way I'd be as effective, because all I've done is memorize what you said. There's no real feeling there. There's no internalization. And brings us to the number one thing that you have to do when you're trying to have conversations is you have to get them internalized, not memorized, internalized. Memorization is the first step. That's where you literally take the things that you want to say and you've got them memorized. So think of the ABCs. When you learn the ABCs, you're going back and forth. You could remember, is it A, B, C, D, E, or A, B, C, D, F, and I forgot E. You had to get them all in the same order. They're just 26 letters all in the same order. And it took us a while when we were kids. Then you got to the point where you had them all on the line, you got all the way through and you remembered them. But if somebody interrupted you in the middle of it, then you forget kind of where you're at, or was I at P, or what's next? Internalization is when you can go through something, get interrupted, and you go right back to where you were in your script. So somebody throws an objection out, you handle the objection, you handle the smoke screen, and you go right back to where you were. You've got a clear vision of where you started in the conversation and where you want to get to. That's internalization. Now you can see why it takes so many reps, because you've got to go through this to go beyond memorization and get to the internalization part. So the first part by having effective conversations is you've got to internalize it. Don't memorize it. Don't stop there. A lot of people will stop at the memorization just frankly because they get tired and they think that they're where they need to be, but you have to move forward to the internalization part. Now, the next part of it that's very, very important is we know sales and persuasion and being able to communicate effectively has a lot to do with the questions that we ask. But I hear time and time again, our patterns for asking questions are not very comfortable for the person on the other end of the conversation. So I want to give you a specific process on how to ask your questions. And these are asking a response-based question. So it goes something like this. Let's take the intro call. So you got a new buyer lead, and you're trying to set an appointment with them. They answer the phone, and your intro may sound something similar to this. Hey, it's Brendan with Century 21, the Harrison Group. Listen, I was giving you a quick call. I saw you had been looking at a couple of properties on our website, and I wanted to find out when you want to go look at a couple in person. Okay, whatever your intro is, it may be something similar to that. But you're going to ask that question. When do you want to go look at properties? Where are you moving to? All that stuff. And you're going to get a response. When they give you their response, here is the pattern that you use for your question. You ask a question. They give you an answer. From their answer, you want to repeat and affirm. So you're repeating their answer and affirming it, which you'll hear when I demonstrate it. It's just making it okay. Making them feel comfortable. So we want to repeat it so that they know that they're being heard. We want to affirm it. That's no problem. Whatever you're doing is perfectly fine. And then we want to ask our next question. But here's where a lot of times agents will get off track. Our next question needs to be based off of the response that they just gave us. Too many times I'll hear where people will even do the repeat and affirm, but then they'll go on a total tangent on their next question. And a couple things happen there. One, you're demonstrating that you're really more concerned with your agenda and where you want to go in the conversation versus where the prospect wants to go, or even your client, depending on the conversation. And you're also communicating that you're not listening. Okay. So let me demonstrate again. Hey, it's Brendan, Century 21, the Harrison Group. Was giving you a quick call. Saw you've been looking at a few properties on our website and just wanted to check and find out, when do you want to go look at a couple in person? Oh, well, we were just kind of messing around on there. We're not really buying anything right now. Hey, no problem. So you were just kind of looking around on the website. You're not buying anything right now. No problem. I'm curious, if you got a little bit more serious about looking, would you be looking at more condos or single family homes? Okay. So I repeat and affirm what they're telling me. And then my next question has to be based off of what they said. They said they're not really looking right now, not doing anything. So my next question is going to be formulated off of that answer and say, okay, well, if something changed and you got a little bit more serious, then what would you be looking at? I didn't go and say, well, how long have you been looking? Are you pre-qualified? What types of things could I find for you? We want to stay in line with the questions that they're asking, and then we'll find ways to get further on the other stuff that we need. We just need to be patient. These are rapport building techniques. In the beginning, you're repeating and you're affirming, and then you're asking the next question. That's all building rapport. They're feeling comfortable. You're not, making them feel like they're wrong for just looking. Okay. So next time in your next call session, I want you to remember a couple of important things. One, you got to get a lot of reps in, and you've got to internalize these conversations. Throw the scripts out. The individual things that you need to say are going to leave you high and dry when you're in a conversation. If you've got your conversations internalized, you're going to be in good shape. And when you're asking questions, repeat, affirm, they're hearing you, make it okay. And then that next question, formulate it off of the leads or your client's last response. All right, go use it. Thanks so much.